Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Talk with the Titans, live from London, UK, all the way to the US of A and worldwide. I'm your host, Kalam L, and this is Talk with the Titans. Oh, man. You know what? Tonight's show, we've got my Shia brothers back in the building on the weekly Let's Get It In session. All right, so tonight's show is actually entitled Muhammad Afflicted by Black Magic. What? Shias defend the Prophet. So, without much further ado, I'm actually going to hand it over to my brother Raza right now, and I can see the family in the building. Shouts to you, salute to you guys, notification, gang, gang, gang. Let's get it in, family. Please just hit the like button from the back and let us know that you're here to support Titans TV. You're here to support freedom of speech, here to support everybody having a voice and being well represented. Toko Films in the building. Oh, man, let's get it, family. Okay, let's get it, Raza, let's get it.
All right, cool. Assalamu alaikum to all the viewers. Assalamu alaikum to Kalam. Everyone watching, thank you for your patience. Sorry, I know we delayed it. That's what you call Asian and black man timing. When you mix it out, this is what happens, isn't it? This is what happens when you mix out. To be fair, Kalam was on time. It was us, isn't it? I'll take that back. All right, cool. But brothers, thank you for coming today. We're gonna have an inshallah interesting show today. Just a quick recap of what we've been doing for the last couple of shows. So in the first show that we had with Untitled TV, we discussed a couple of traditions about who the Prophet's family are. We discussed the traditions about the Prophet ﷺ leaving behind his family as his successors, and we made it quite clear that the Prophet indeed did leave them as his successors. And of course, we showed that from the Sunni books to prove our point, that the Prophet indeed did leave his family as his spiritual and religious successors. In the second video that we done, we talked about before the Prophet passed away, even though because he had made it clear that he was leaving his family. However, to drive the point even forward and to completely carry the point forward, he tried to write a will with their names on it. And this is where he was actually stopped, and he was met with a dispute from the companions, specifically Umar, who stopped it and accused the Prophet of being delirious. So this is something else that was discussed, and we basically made it clear that the Prophet was basically disrespected. He was called delirious by Umar, and he was stopped from writing his will. And we made it clear that a lot of scholars actually said what he wanted to write was indeed, again, his family's names, to make it clear for the Ummah. Now, this is where we are as of now. Now, where are we going now? A lot of brothers and sisters have been asking, where are we going now? So what happens now then? What we wanted to do is we wanted to change up the game a little bit. We can't just be following patterns. We got to change up the game a little bit. So what we wanted to do today was we wanted to discuss the view of the Prophet according to Shia theology. Now, Kalam gave a title to it, and he mentioned about black magic. We actually wanted to focus on the theological aspects of believing in the Prophet not being infallible. Because for the brothers and sisters who know, they know. For the guys who don't know, let me tell you. In Shia theology, the prophets of Allah, alayhimus salam, all of them are infallible. Whether that's Adam, all the way to our Prophet, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, they are all infallible. And when we say infallible, meaning they do not sin out of their own free will. The difference between them sinning and angels is that angels can't sin because they have no free will. Prophets, they have free will, but they choose not to sin. They exercise that free will to not sin. Now, one of the key contentions is that between the different schools was the Prophet affected by black magic? Now, for a Shia point of view, it's very clear that, let alone black magic is far off the topic. We don't even believe they can sin, let alone be inflicted by black magic. Unfortunately, within the Sunni corpus of Hadith and Sunni scholarship, there is a dispute on this issue. So inshallah, we're going to be talking about this issue today. We're going to be talking about the narrations. We're going to be talking about the scholars who endorsed this view, the scholars who spoke against it, because they're, to be fair to the subject, there have been some Sunni scholars who were warriors in this path and who defended the Prophet, and they rejected this. And this is the path that we're on. And this is the path that, inshallah, we're going to speak about today and go deep into this. And this is very good for the non-Muslims as well, because the non-Muslims that read these narrations, naturally, they would read this, they might get confused. I'm sure there's a lot of non-Muslims who research this. They might, this could potentially be a big barrier from people becoming Muslim. They might read it and be like, hold on, I can't follow a prophet that is bewitched. So for those people today, we're going to make this clear. Kalam, take it away.
You know what, yeah? I'm gonna have to apologize to my Muslims right about now. Yeah, I'm apologizing. Yeah, sorry to do this to you guys. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to pull out some of these hadiths. Yeah, and be devil's advocate today. Today I'm growing horns. You know, horns are growing from my head, and I'm gonna be pulling out these hadiths here, where you know, your mother, Aisha, has you know, narrated a lot of these hadiths pertaining to Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his families. You know, him being actually affected by black magic. So I'm going to be drawing for these, fam. I'm going to be drawing for them. So if you ain't got thick skin, you know what? You guys have to just sit down right about now. So, but before I even go there, I actually want to know, you know, talk to me about what exactly is magic. Talk to me, like, give me a definition of magic. What is magic itself? You can.
Sayyid Ali, you want to take it away, Sayyid?
Yeah, I think before we well, I just want to say Assalamu alaikum, and we apologize for the delay today. We had some slight bit of technical difficulties. You probably see my camera is really blurred out now at the moment, but inshallah, at some point I'll try to sort it out. So yeah, before we go into what is magic itself and the types of magic we have, I think it's important that I want to elaborate further on the point that Raza mentioned about the Shia position. What is the Shia position about infallibility? Because this is one particular topic or one particular area which we always get scrutinized on, and that is the fact that we believe that the successors of the Prophet, the Imams alayhi salam, the 12 infallible Imams who succeeded the Prophet after he passed away, we believe that they were infallible. So I'd like to bring out a quote from some of our scholars regarding Isma first. So I'm just going to bring it up on the screen to share.
All those who don't know, Isma in Arabic means infallibility.
So can you see my screen? Is it come up?
Yeah. It's your Google, is your thing coming up?
Is it you can see my screen, right?
Yes, it's showing.
Okay, so I'm going to bring my screen up right now. If you just bear with me a minute, I just want to show you. So this is from a trusted Shia website. If you want to learn more about Shia Islam, I would definitely recommend this website. It's called alislam.org. You can Google it, it'll come up. You'll find numerous books on there about the Shia Madahib, what the Shias believe, you know, what is our position regarding various issues. So yeah, so the definition of Isma. So the word Isma literally means protection. In Islamic terminology, it means infallibility. Infallibility is defined as a spiritual grace of Allah to a person which enables him to abstain from sins by his own free will. Okay, this is something important here. We don't believe that the prophets and the Imams alayhi salam, may peace and blessings be upon all of them. We don't believe they're robots, meaning that we don't believe that they don't, you know, they just merely act like robots and that's it. They don't have the ability to sin. Rather, what we believe is that they have, it's in their capacity to sin if they choose, if they wanted to, but they choose not to. So this is very important. It says abstaining from sins by their own free will. Okay. Now, a person who has been given the grace of God is called Masoom. So once you've attained that lofty status where you become infallible, you become Masoom. Masoom meaning you become protected from, you become sinless. This power of Isma does not make the Masoom person incapable of committing sins, which I mentioned earlier. A Masoom refrains from sins and mistakes by his power and will. If it were otherwise, then there would be no merit in being infallible, in being Masoom. Yeah. A Masoom is able to abstain from sins because of the higher level of righteousness and ever-present consciousness and love for God and certain knowledge about the consequences of committing that sin. So in short, what we believe here is that the Imams alayhi salam have reached that lofty status where if they choose to sin, so I'll just bring my, back again. So so what we believe here is that the Imams alayhi salam and the Prophets, the Anbiya, they've reached to such a high level of knowledge, you could say to some extent, that they realize the repercussions of that sin. We have a hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam where somebody asked the Imam that, how do you view sin? So the Imam replied, we view sins like a ditch that has snakes in it. meaning that would you walk into a ditch that has snakes? No, you wouldn't. So this is how the prophets and the Imams alayhi salam, they view sin. They see the repercussions of committing that sin. So it's not that we believe that they were robots or anything like this. Rather, it was in their capabilities to sin, but they chose not to. I just want to bring up one more quote before I go into the types of magic, and that is from a classical Shia scholar, just to show that this is the position of the Shias regarding Isma. Just give me a minute. I'm just going to bring it up again. Just give me a second. Just bear with me. Sorry.
Kalam, is this a new type of thing that you've experienced? This Isma aspect of infallibility, is this new for you?
Yeah, this is mad new for me still. This is new for me. I've read around it, but I've never gone into depth with it, and this is going to be real powerful.
So again, apologize for cutting you off. Again, this is from the same website, alislam.org, which you can look into this topic. And by all means, I would advise the viewers, if you want to learn the true Islam as taught by the Ahlul Bayt, the holy progeny of the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, I would definitely recommend this site. Have a read of it. So it says the definition of Isma. The word Isma literally means protection. Again, carrying on, and it says, look, if I just come further down.
That's the same book.
It is. I just want to point out something here. So we come across some ordinary people who are very upright in their character and would not dream of committing certain sins or crimes. The strength of their character makes them relatively an infallible person. For example, it's within the power of any person to go naked on the streets. But would a person who's brought up as a good Muslim ever think of doing so? No, because it's far below his dignity to behave in such a way. It's not impossible for him to do so, but he will never even imagine doing so. Why? Because he's been taught and brought up with the idea that such behavior will tarnish his honor and beneath the dignity of civilized human being. Okay, so yes, so this is the Shia position of Isma. We believe that, you know, again, all 124,000 prophets were all infallible, and we believe all the 12 Imams who succeeded the Prophet are all infallible. And you know, we can prove that from a rational point of view. Inshallah, we'll go into the verses of the Quran which mention Isma. But coming back to your point, Kalam, about the issue of magic, of course, with magic, you have different types of magic. Some people do not even accept this concept of magic. Some people believe that this magic is rather illusion. It's an illusion created by the individual who carries out that sorcery. But ultimately, there is actually, you could say, there's no root essence to magic itself. So I'll pass it back to Raza, inshallah.
Okay. So my brother said Ali summed that up. He spoke about, you know, what Isma means for us. Gave a brief introduction to magic. Magic, in a sense, Kalam, you could say, it's, you know, there's certain traditions and certain verses that says that magic is from the shaitan. It is something that basically it takes over you and influences you. You know, alcohol, aspects like this are all things that are all, they say this is shaitan's games, because they take over you. They have an effect on the person, both spiritually and physically, but the person is not in control of themselves. Magic is the same thing. It takes control over you, and you are then not in your senses. Now, in regards to the actual aspect around it, if you bear with me 1 minute, I'll bring that up. Bear with me.
Oh man, family tree. We're about to go in today. You know, drop your comments if you've got any questions or comments. All you have to do is tag Titans TV to get my attention, and just add your question or comment into the comment section. If you would like to join the panel, okay, join the panel. Simply drop your email address or email me. Okay, drop your email address or email me. Bakar Zindiq says Titans TV. Is Hani coming on? Unfortunately, I will have to say, as far as I'm aware of, no. I haven't received any request from Hani to come onto the show. So therefore, I don't believe Hani will be coming onto the show at all. So if you would like to be on the show tonight, okay, what will you have to do, okay? And if I'm lying, you can just simply say, hey, no, Cal, I posted my email address. Look, I've tagged Titans TV. The whole world can see it. And you can heat me up. But unfortunately, there's nobody there that's posted anything up in that respect. Titans TV, where's little Zane? He's a G from BBSM. I'm going to pass that over to Raza. Where's the Blade Runner at, though?
The Blade Runner sharpening his blade, man. the Blade Runner be going moss today still.
Okay. You know what? Have you got what you needed to get up?
I've got it.
Jeez.
I'm ready.
Jeez. Have you seen who just popped in?
No, I haven't. You know, who's popped in?
Yo.
Oh, yes.
I like that smile.
The medicine man.
Trust me. What's happening? What's happening?
Medicine with you.
Bro, I got the medicine, everything, bro. Bro, it's your time. It's your time.
My time. No worry. Guys, we're going to get on this. I want you to ask some questions as well. We're going to get on this soon.
Okay. Say nothing. Yeah, I'm there, man.
My brothers. All right, cool. So let's get on this.
All right.
So
let me quickly shout out Fifth Avenue Phil, who'll be coming on tomorrow. Let me shout out my big brother, Big Bro. You know, he's locked in, he's tuned in. Shouts to you, my brother. Yeah, he's locked in and he's tuned in. So let me just get it back into the flow and let's get it.
All right, let's get this. All right, cool. So we're gonna go down to now. So the dear viewers, Allah has promised that the shaitan has no means to his sincere servants. So it's only the wrongdoers who follow him. Basically, shaitan has a specific type of control on people. Allah has promised us that shaitan will never have control over his prophets. The servants of Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, never fall into the trap of Iblis. Iblis is the actual name of shaitan. And they are protected due to Allah's mercy. This is just not restricted to a prophet or messenger. It's restricted to all those righteous servants who Allah chooses until the day of judgment. Now you'll notice a stark difference there, and I'm going to go into different religions as well. You'll notice a stark difference for all the brothers that are Christian or maybe Jewish. That in the Bible you'll notice that prophets are known to be sinning. They sin. They make mistakes. Sometimes they do major sins. According to Shiite theology, that doesn't happen. The prophets are all protected and they're all infallible. It's not just Jesus. It's not just the Prophet of Islam. All prophets are infallible. Now, let's get down to the textual evidence and find out where does Allah actually mention this in the Quran. So, Surah 5, verse 105. Either Sayyid Ali or Kalam, any of you can just get that up on the screen for the viewers to see. Is that up?
I'll let Kalam do the honors.
Kalam, I know you like doing the verse checking.
Straight fact checking. All right. Give it to me again because I was just posting in the comment section. So let me.
Surah 5, verse 105.
Surah the Maida, 105.
105.
All right.
All right. We there?
Got it.
All right. So, O you who believe, upon you is a responsibility for yourselves. Those who have gone astray will not harm you when you have been guided. To Allah is your return altogether, and He will inform you of what you used to do. Go to the next one, Kalam. Let me just make sure those who have gone astray will not harm you when you have been guided. All right. So you can see there's an inference there of those who have gone astray will not harm you when you have been guided. So you can see there's a little connotation there. All right, Kalam, let's get it. Surah 15, verse 39. All right. So, Iblis says, so Iblis meaning shaitan, my Lord, because you have put me in error, I will surely make disobedience attractive to them on earth, and I will mislead them all. Yeah? So I shall mislead them all, except, hold on, wait, what does it say? Except amongst them your chosen servants. This is key now. This is key. Because Allah said that is a path of return to me that is straight. Now watch this. Iblis is saying that you have put me in error. So he's trying to say, now I'm in trouble, but I will get everyone else to follow this path. But then he says himself, except amongst them your chosen servants. So those who are chosen amongst your servants, I cannot mislead them. They are outside of my power. And who are the chosen servants? The prophets, the prophet's family, the imams, the wasis, the successors, etc., etc. Okay, let's go get it. Surah 16, 99. Okay. So, indeed, there is for him no authority over those who have believed and rely upon their Lord. His authority is only over those who take him as an ally and those who through him associate others with Allah. So you see what Iblis is saying, Allah is saying here, indeed for him there is he has no authority over those who have believed and rely upon their Lord. So clearly the prophets would be on that category, because look, believers like us, we will change. One day we might go through a good day. One day we might have a bad day. But prophets are those, no one can ever say that prophets are not believers. They are consistent believers throughout their lives, from the beginning to the end. So therefore the verse is saying, indeed for him, indeed there is for him no authority over those who have believed. Shaitan has no authority over them. If he has no authority over them, he cannot get them. Next surah, 72:27. Okay. Cool. 72:27, yeah.
Sometimes this happens. Apologies.
Kalam, you're the tech guy, man. Tech guy. Cool. Where are we? He is the knower of the unseen. He does not disclose knowledge unseen to anyone except who he is approved of the messengers, and indeed he sent them before him. Is that 27? Except, and he makes a band of watching. Here we go. Except who he is approved of the messengers, indeed he sends before each messenger, and behind him observes. So basically, he approves of the messengers, and he basically has a band of watching guides. Basically, a lot of the scholars say it means the angels who watch them from the front and the behind. So therefore, they're watching the prophets to make sure that they are protected at all times. So even if someone does try and do something like black magic, they are protected. Now, these verses was as a summary. Obviously, we can go deep into it, but the point is, it was a summary of verses that clearly show that Shaitan, there's no doubt Shaitan will deviate people. However, there's always going to be a group of people that he will have no authority over. And he himself says, I will not have no authority over the chosen servants. And those chosen servants are indeed the prophets, especially the Prophet of Islam. Now, the Prophet is under that protection. Now I'm going to give it over to Sayyid Ali, where he will actually talk about those narrations. And let me give you a little principle, or what you call a qaida, a principle of our theology. Any narration that explicitly goes against the Quran, no matter what that hadith, no matter what book it is in, or no matter who's narrated it, no matter how authentic it is, if it goes against any Quranic principle that is clear, and you cannot make both of them work together, those hadiths are thrown against the wall. And that is a principle that was narrated by Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam. He said that any hadith that goes against the Quran openly, where it's a clear contradiction and you can't make both things work, I'm not talking about a contradiction in your mind. I'm talking about a contradiction where you're like, God said God is one and a hadith says God is two. Giving you an extreme example. That hadith will get thrown against the wall. So now there are some traditions which talk about the black magic being affected onto our Prophet. Now Sayyid Ali will talk about those narrations and inshallah refute them.
Yeah, apologies. I'm just trying to get used to his computer. It's actually not my computer. I'm using a friend's computer. So hopefully I won't get these strange type of pop-ups on my screen. God knows what he uses his computer for. Nevertheless, so as Raza mentioned at the beginning of the program, in reference to the Prophet being bewitched, there's actually two views which are held by our Sunni brothers. One opinion is that they outright reject it and they believe these to be a fabrication. I will inshallah bring up the references for that on the screen. Another view is that the Prophet was affected by black magic. This magic was so severe that it actually affected him for 6 months. And during this period, he had, may peace and blessings be upon him and his family, he had no idea what he was doing. So I'm going to share screen. I'm going to bring the screen up now so it shares. And I'm going to read the text with you. That has been translated. So by all means, you can look into the Arabic afterwards. The Arabic will be shown on the screen. The Arabic is pretty much on point in terms of translation and stuff. So if there's a dispute, you know, you can always get it checked afterwards. So the first scholar is Abu Bakr Jassas, and he says they alleged that the Prophet was bewitched and magic worked on him. Such hadith are fabricated by infidels. So he says that those people who accuse the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him and his family, of being bewitched, these are fabrications made by the infidels to mock the inferior people and to lead them to reject the miracles of the prophets and to create doubts in them, and that there is no difference between the miracles of prophets and the tricks of magicians, and that they are the same. Meaning, if the magicians had this ability to, you know, affect the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, with magic, what would make miracles of prophets unique? There would be nothing special about these miracles. In fact, these sorcerers would probably come forward and use this as proof to maybe perhaps prove their own prophethood. So this is mentioned in the book Ahkam al-Quran, volume 19, page 60, and I'm going to bring that up for you in a minute. I just want to quote another scholar, goes by the name of Al-Nawai, and he says, Abu Bakr al-Asim, who I believe may have been a Mu'tazili scholar, nevertheless, his view is still quoted in this book. It says, Abu Bakr al-Asim said, reports narrating that the Prophet was bewitched are rejected because they support the atheists accusing him of bewitchment. It's also contrary to the Quranic texts that belly them. So as you can see earlier, or as I mentioned, the verses of the Quran, which would be directly against such narrations. And as Raza explained also, that we would, you know, any traditions that go against the Quran, we would automatically reject them. This is a Shia principle generally that we use. Any hadith that goes against the Quran is rejected. Our brothers don't have this principle in the science of hadith. Nevertheless, two important words: fabricated by infidels. They support the atheists. So according to these two statements, it's quite clear that anybody who attributes black magic to the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, these are words made by infidels and by atheists. Now, inshallah, I'll bring up the scans for you so you can have a look. So this is the first reference I read. I'm going to see if I can try to make the screen larger for you. Give me a minute. So you can probably see it there now. So this is the first reference, and the next reference was the page I read after. It's there, page number 60. I'll zoom up a bit more for you, just in case I don't want to get confused.
All the brothers that obviously can't read Arabic and etc. etc. These are just scans and stuff of the two references that Sayyid Ali read.
And this is the other reference which I read, and again the scan which I will zoom up. Oh, it's zoomed up a bit too much, I think there. Again, page 243. So these are the traditions of, well, I would say the statements of noble scholars who have rejected the account of the Prophet being bewitched. So now I'd like to come to the first hadith collection, Sahih Bukhari, which is considered to be the most authentic book after the Quran. And this is reading from Sahih Bukhari, Volume 1, Dar al-Islam, published in Riyadh. And I think somebody made a mockery out of that, the way I pronounced it last time. It's published in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And I just want to show you something from the introduction of the book, something very important about why this works is considered important. This is page number 19, and it says, it's said that Imam Bukhari, before compiling Sahih Bukhari, saw in a dream standing in front of him was the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, having a fan in his hand and driving away the flies from the Prophet. Imam Bukhari asked some of those to interpret the dream, and they interpreted his dream that he will drive away falsehood and assert against the Prophet. Now, on a side note, I'm not, with no offense here, if you read some of the traditions in this collection, you know, you'd really question that whether this work was actually written to remove this falsehood asserted against the Prophet. Rather, if anything, you would probably find that, you know, it's because of such books that, you know, those who have this you know, anti-Islam mentality is probably taken from a lot of these traditions that are found in this book. Anyway, so it was a great task for him to sift the forged hadith from the authentic ones. He labored the day and night, and although he had memorized such a large number, he only chose approximately 7,275 with a repetition, and about 2,230 with a repetition of which there is no doubt about the authenticity. Before he recorded each hadith, he would make ablution and offer 2 units of prayer and supplicate to his Lord. Many religious scholars of Islam try to find faults in the great remarkable collection, Sahih Bukhari, but without success. It was for this reason that they unanimously agreed that the most authentic book after the Book of Allah is Sahih Bukhari. So this shows you how authentic this book is. Now, let's go to the traditions. So this is the first tradition. It's taken from Sahih Bukhari, Arabic to English, volume 4. And the narration is like this. Let me bring it up so you can read it along with me, just in case I don't get accused of anything afterwards. So this is taken from page number 301, as you can see from the top. Narrated Aisha, magic worked on the Prophet ﷺ, so that he began to fancy that he was doing a thing which he was not actually doing. Now, here, magic was worked on the Prophet so that he began to fancy that he was doing a thing which he was not actually doing. It's actually a reference to the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him and his family, sleeping with his wives. So what Aisha is actually saying here is that he was imagining the fact that he was actually sleeping with his wives, okay? One day, he invoked Allah for a long period, and then he said, I feel that Allah has inspired me as how to cure myself. 2 persons came to me in my dream and sat, one by my head and the other by my feet. One of them asked the other, what's the ailment of this man? The other replied, he's been bewitched. The first asked, who bewitched him? The other replied, Labad ibn al-Asim. The first one asked, what material did he use? The other replied, a comb. The hair gathered on it, and the outer skin of the pollen of the male date palm. The first asked, where is that? The other replied, it's in a well of Darwan. So the Prophet went out towards the well and returned and said to me on his return, it's date palms, the date palms near the well were like the heads of the devils. I asked, did you take out those things with which the magic was worked? He said, no. As for me, Allah has cured me, and I'm afraid that this action may spread evil amongst the people. Later on, the well was filled up with earth. So I'm going to bring the screen back, and I'm just going to allow you guys to reflect over that particular narration. I'll pass it over to you, brothers.
That was a lot still. I'm not even going to deny that. That was a hella of amount. I'm actually gonna just quickly go to my audience members to see what you guys are actually saying. You know, you feel like me, that was a lot. Like, say it in the comment section. Let's actually get some, you know, crowd participation up in here. We have over 150 people tuned in right now. We're only on what 54 likes. Family, man, please, like, my Shia brothers have been doing the research. They've done it. They've gone and done the research. They come here to present their information to you. And please, the least you can do, you know, the least you can do is just hit the like button or drop a nice positive comment to let my Shia brothers know that they're doing an awesome job. Okay? Please let them know that they're doing an awesome job. And I know a few guys have actually been hollering at me and saying, you know, Cal, I've been trying to donate, but your GoFundMe is not working. And I'm like, you know what? For the longest time, I haven't sorted it out. But give thanks and praise. I've actually finally sorted it out. So right here, if it's sharing right now, easy. Yeah, if it's sharing right now, you can literally just go here, okay, and you know, donate if you feel as though you would like to donate. Okay, it's right there. See, we got the Sarnetta. We got the Sarnetta Awards, baby. We got the Sarnetta Awards coming up. This is me last time over in New York. Last time in New York, we was out there live with Sarnetta on 125th Street up in Harlem. So if you would actually like to support us again, we're going to be going out there in June. You know, just donate to us, and you'll see us out there again. You know, chilling with the brothers, We've been nominated for the best international. So you know, just support us as much as you can. All right.
Kalam, I don't want to cut you off there. I just want to bring up one more narration before I do pass it on to you guys.
No doubt. Before you do that, I just want to say,
just in case somebody accuses me of forging these traditions.
Yeah, so this is mad interesting. We're talking about the prophet being afflicted with black magic. Okay,
very concerning.
Black. You know what? I'm pretty sure there is, you know, the Christian apologetics, yeah, may be utilizing these arguments against, you know, our Muslim brothers. But my Muslim brothers, my Shia brothers, have a completely different outlook, completely different perspective, where this particular narration will hold no weight on my Shias. It's only holding weight on my brothers that are part of the Sunni tradition. Okay, so if, you know, so far, my brother's saying, you know, the prophets, you know, they got something called the Isma. Is it Isma? Isma.
Yeah.
Got something called Isma. They got that protection, baby. But your prophet, according to your narration, doesn't have that Isma, doesn't have that protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I need to know what's going on. Of course, we're going to get my brother Saracen, who's going to be dropping in real soon. I know he definitely wants to come on. So he'll be on. And I want to hear it from the different perspectives, because I know he belongs to a different type of Sunni strain. And I want to hear what he has to say. And if you are coming from a Salafiyah strain or whatever strain you're coming from, please, I'm inviting you on.
Boom, there's
Saracen.
There's Saracen.
Saracen does come on right now. Yo, Saracen, just say hello to the family real quickly, Saracen.
Yes. What's happening, people? Peace, everyone. And salam alaikum to everyone.
Peace.
All right. My brother Saeed's gonna go in real quickly, and I'm gonna invite you back in again. So Saeed,
can I ask a question?
Yeah, cool.
Can I ask a question, quick?
Not yet.
Not at the moment. Let's just finish off. We have a long to go.
Last bit in there. So
Okay.
let me just get that last. And invite the
let me just put
questions as well.
one more narration up, and this is from volume 7. Okay, sorry, give me a minute. Volume 7, say Bukhari. A slightly longer narration, so you just have to bear with me. I hope my voice doesn't bore you. So this is page number 362, tradition number 5763. Narrated Aisha. A man called Labid ibn al-Asim from the tribe of Bani Zurak worked magic on Allah's messenger till Allah's messenger started imagining that he had done a thing that he had not really done. One day, or one night, he was with us. He invoked Allah and invoked for a long period and then said, "O Aisha, do you know what Allah has instructed me concerning the matter I have asked him about? 2 men came to me, and one of them sat near my head and the other near my feet. One of them said to his companion, 'What is the disease of this man?' The other replied, he's under the effects of magic. The first one asked, who has worked the magic on him? The other replied, Abid ibn al-Asim. The first one asked, what material did he use? The other replied, a comb, and the hairs stuck to it. You know, it's interesting. How did this individual even get the comb to begin with? It makes you think, right? I mean, where do most people keep their combs anyway? Either maybe in their pocket or even in their homes. So, you need to really think here. How did this person even get the comb to begin with? A comb stuck to his hair to it, and it's going to upon it, okay? The first one asked, where is that? The other replied, it's in the well of Darwan. So Allah's Messenger, along with some of his companions, went there and came back saying, oh Aisha, the color of its water is like the infusion of henna leaves. The tops of the date palm tree near it are like the heads of the devils. I asked, oh Allah's Messenger, why did you not show it? He said, since Allah cured me, I dislike to let the evil spread among the people. Then he ordered that the well be filled up with earth. So I'm going to bring the screen back so you guys can perhaps comment on this particular tradition.
Oh, that narration.
Oh man, this is getting kind of peak still, you know. You know, if I wasn't rooting with my Shia brothers right now, I'd be thinking, "Raw, what's going on though? What's going on with my prophet right about now?" So what I'll have to do is just quickly open up to Gabs, because I know Gabs is dying to ask a question, and then let's get it in.
Go, Gabs, go.
Yo, yeah, what's it? I was just trying to obviously follow the conversation. Is the conversation basically what you guys explain? Are you basically saying that the prophets or the messengers of Allah don't commit sin? I think that's the first bit that I was kind of getting.
I'll give you a quick summary. Gabs. What we're trying to say is that in our theology, in Shia theology, and indeed even some Sunni scholars, they've got this aspect of isma, meaning infallibility, that they are protected against sins.
Okay.
Now, generally, a lot of the guys you might meet, a lot of the common Muslims might say to you, "Oh, the Prophet sinned, the Prophet made mistakes." Shia theology is quite distinct in that aspect, that the prophets are actually protected from all types of sins, and obviously that includes being protected from black magic.
Okay. Because I thought that was the case, because the question I was going to ask then would have been obviously dealing with the Prophet Moses, because obviously that Moses being in Egypt, one of the reasons for him leaving Egypt was because of obviously him killing an Egyptian soldier. And I wanted to know, would you class killing another man, would that be seen as sin? Because that was the reason for him leaving.
The whole story of Prophet Moses is that obviously he killed that man, right?
Yeah.
The boy, you mean?
Nah, he killed a man, a soldier.
Oh, yes. Okay, carry on.
So he's trying to say that if Prophet Moses does that, doesn't that go against the aspect of doesn't that go against us in terms of the aspect of infallibility, because he's clearly done something wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gabs, about that, so that if we if you brothers are all right, should we get into that briefly? You not cool with that?
Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah.
All right, cool. So look, let's go through the verses then. So Surah Al-Qasas, if someone wants to bring that up, Kalam or Sayyid Ali, Surah 28, verse 15 and 16.
Kalam, do you want to do the honors?
All right, 28 verse 16. Let me get it, fam. Let me get it. 28.
Now, there's one thing that I would like to say to you as well, Gab, so you understand this concept, because you've got to understand the epistemology of where the Shias come from. There's no doubt about it. If you look at the Quran from a apparent sense and a literal sense, there is no doubt about it that it would look apparent that the Prophet sinned. Meaning, if you look at it from a very apparent view and a literalist reading, it will look quite apparent to anyone. Be like, well, clearly Adam sinned, clearly Moses sinned, clearly this sinned. The Prophet's family, when they interpreted these verses, they were always clear on looking at the deeper meanings and understanding the words differently to what you normally understand them as. So that's what we're going to do with Prophet Moses today, and I'm going to show you the different understanding of those verses. So are we on those verses now?
Cool.
It's Kalam doing it?
Yep.
Live, cool. Surah Qasas, verse 15-16. All right, cool. So, and he entered, so Lord, indeed I wrote myself, so forgive me, and he forgave me. Okay, that's fine. So look, let me just tell you the story. Surah Qasas, and he entered the city at a time when its people were not aware of his presence, and he found two men fighting. Go a little bit up, Kalam, so I can see what comes up above that. Because I'm trying to find the story of Prophet Moses here. From his nurses. Okay, that's fine. You can go back to 16, and obviously I'll just narrate the story, and then I'll catch it from there. So he entered the city at a time when his people were not aware of his presence, and he found, I'm just narrating you the story of what happened, and he found two men fighting. One was from his party, and the other one was from his enemies. When one of them was from his followers, he cried out to him for help against the one who was from his enemies. So Moses struck him with his fist and killed him. Yes, that's it. Good. Now, let's carry on. Then Moses said, this is Shaitan's deed. I'm reading a different translation, but it's fine. This is Shaitan's deed. Surely he is an open enemy who leads others astray. Musa said, my Lord, I surely have been unjust to myself. Therefore forgive me. So Allah forgave him. He is the forgiving, the merciful. Now, pause here. By the apparent, anyone reading that will be like, clearly he sinned. He made a mistake. He attacked someone who wasn't supposed to, but he didn't mean to kill him. He killed him. Therefore, he's asking forgiveness. So he sinned. Would you not agree?
Agreed.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Now let's get into a bit of the tafsir of the Prophet's family. The common translation of the last verse, combined with a statement about the shaitan, creates conflict with the concept of isma. What Moses did wasn't a crime. He went to help an oppressed person, and in the process struck a blow with his fist. This ended unexpectedly in the death of an oppressor. Helping an oppressed person is a praiseworthy act, no doubt about it. However, the death of an oppressor at most can be labeled as accidental death that is not a crime. Okay, Moses' word saying this is Shaitan's deed does not necessarily refer to his own action, because we've already seen the verses that says, I will certainly mislead all of those people except the devoted. So he's already made that clear, Allah. So what does Moses mean by that then? And Moses surely was not amongst the misled then. So the sentence that says this is Shaitan's deed refers to the actual mischief started by the oppressor. So when Moses said this is Shaitan's deed, he's not referring to his own act. He's actually referring to the act that was started by the guy that he killed. Carry on. And with a sentence that says, my Lord, I have surely been unjust to myself. The word that's used there is dhulm, means, oppressed, unjust. Now, we've got to use it in the right way. Its correct translation would be, my Lord, I surely have put myself into harm. Because another meaning of it is harm. Meaning, if instead of interpreting the word dhulm as oppressed myself, if you took it as I have surely put myself into harm, because you've killed someone now. So what's happening to Moses? Now that you've killed someone, he's going to be in harm, right? The Pharaoh's people are going to be looking for him, correct?
Correct.
Correct. So therefore now he's saying, I have put myself in harm. Okay, someone carries on and says, hold on, Raza, but then why does he ask for forgiveness then? If he didn't sin, why ask for forgiveness? Again, the common meaning, the apparent meaning of the word ghafara is forgiving. There's no doubt about it. However, also one of the meanings of forgiving, or what you call ghafara, means to watch over someone or to guard someone or to even cover something. This second meaning does not apply any sin. It just means that by accidentally killing the oppressor, Moses found himself in harm, and therefore from the people of Pharaoh, and therefore he said, Allah guard me, and therefore Allah guarded him. Now, of course, the translation you're going to see now is a very apparent translation, and generally it's from the Salafi websites and stuff like that, and they translate it according to the actual meaning of the word. But these meanings of the Arabic words, they actually have different meanings. So when you interpret in those meanings, it comes very different. And the last part of it is this. The meaning of the last verse is Allah quotes saying, Moses, that when you killed an Egyptian man accidentally, we delivered. So the actual meaning would be this. When you killed an Egyptian man accidentally and were being pursued by Pharaoh's people, we delivered you from worry. So the dhulm explained in the verse as worry and the forgiving as delivered. So you see with those words and those different meanings, the whole aspect around the Quran changes. It doesn't really mean about sin no more. It literally means the shaitan's work was the oppressor. I killed the oppressor. Because I killed the oppressor, I was put in harm, but Allah protected me from that harm.
Okay. You finished, yeah? I was gonna well, boy, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
But me personally, because what I've just obviously seen you reading,
it
seems to me like even if we take that today, so imagine it sounds like you have obviously Moses, it said, was in one faction. He saw two people fighting. One was from his faction and the other one was the enemy. So that's just like today. You got one person from a gang and the ops, yeah, the other gang members are fighting, and then one of the gang members runs over and is like, what? You're fighting one of my guys, yeah? And then swings a bang, yeah? Bangs the other gang member, and that person dies. Now, two things is gonna happen. When the police arrive at that scene and they find out that the two gangs were fighting and one gang member went over and punched the guy and one of them ended up dead, what's gonna happen? You know for a fact, yeah, that the person, the person that swung the blow, regardless of the other two fighting, is getting arrested, and he's going to be going to court for murder, regardless. Straight. No, even if he says, "Oh, I punched him, but I didn't mean to kill him," and we've seen this happen on a day-to-day basis. The moment that you went over there to punch him, it's not even like you went over there to try and stop the fight. You went over to punch to hurt someone. Yeah.
True.
And the result of that is somebody dying. True. You are going to jail, mate, for life. You see what I'm saying? So now when it comes to the situation with Moses, you know for a fact that whatever he done, he knew he did something wrong. Hence why you read it where he said, Allah forgive me. And Allah had to forgive him. So for the bare fact that he says he know himself he did something wrong and he's asking for forgiveness, that in itself is that in itself is him repenting and asking forgiveness for his sin. Because he did wrong. The sin is doing the wrong. So if he knows in himself he did wrong, he has to ask Allah for forgiveness. So that in itself is him sinning, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
So
two points in the answer. Gabs, carry on. Make your point.
Yeah.
Oh, is that
Yeah, cool.
Oh yeah, cool. 2 points then. Now, this is getting interesting, because the first aspect of things is you made a good example of like random, casual London, Mandem having beef. One guy protects him, swings, he gets put in prison for it. There's no doubt about it. In today's UK law, the person would be arrested and he would be put inside. There's no doubt about it. However, we need to get out the pretext of UK law system. Yeah. Meaning, there's no doubt about it that, of course, if someone's being oppressed and I back that person, so here the person, the Egyptian was being oppressed by one of Pharaoh's guys. Moses backed it. Yeah, I understand. Moses might have not meant to kill the guy, but he died. You'll say to me, all right, cool. Even if I accept your point that it's not about the UK law system, he still did something which he's done something where now he's obviously scared and he's saying, oh, Allah forgive me. So naturally, if he's asking for forgiveness, he sinned. Am I right?
Yeah, I would say, do you know what? Yeah, I would say you're right. Yeah, but remember as well, you got to realize when Moses did struck that guy and that guy did die. Obviously, coming from the biblical narrative, Moses fled the scene. He ran away because he was scared because he knew what he had done. That was the whole purpose of him running.
I think in terms of, I don't think we disagree with the biblical narrative there in terms of him leaving. I don't think I don't think there's a big issue with that. Now him running. No,
but I'm saying the reason for him running, will still go back to the whole point what I was saying about today. Like it's the same thing, same thing today, the same thing yesterday. The same way if someone's having a fight, like you said, like in a UK, a UK system, where someone punches someone and they die. What's the first thing you're gonna do? Because you're scared and frightened for your life, you're gonna run. That's the first thing you're gonna do. You're gonna run. Hence, that's the same thing that Moses did. Moses started running because he knew because he knew, because remember, he knew that what he had done, obviously, in that system, or wherever that law system that they had in Egypt, he knew that he had committed something wrong and he might have been punished. So hence the reason why he ran. Do you see what I'm saying? But regardless of that, even regardless of that, the main point is he knew that he done himself, he did something wrong, hence why he had to ask Allah for forgiveness.
Yes.
So that in itself, I'm seeing as that's the sin and him repenting.
I get it. Now you see, again, the first part, again, I'm not going to stress too much on that, but I would just say about the first part, him leaving and him running, it's clearly to do with, look, you're going to get caught now, and Pharaoh's people will say, listen, you've just killed one of Pharaoh's guys over a children of Israel. Meaning, regardless, they're never going to see it in God's way, because for God, he didn't see that as wrong. Now, I'm going to add your second part about the forgiveness part. And I did mention this, but I'm going to mention this again. The word that the prophet used, and you can check this kalam in the Quran as well. The verse that's used is that says that ighfarli, meaning ghafara, means normally it means to forgive. However, there's also another meaning of that, Gabs, in the Arabic language. One meaning of that verse that's been translated as forgive me is obviously from the word ghafara. The other meaning means to watch over someone, to guard someone, or to cover something, meaning protect me. So what if I translated that word, because the Prophet's family, when they interpreted that verse, Gabs, they said when Prophet said ghafara, Ya Allah ghafara, means Ya Allah protect me, rather than Ya Allah forgive me. Because that changes the whole concept of the game. Because if I translate that as forgive me, your point's clear. You only ask for forgiveness unless you're being humble, but generally in this context, you're asking for forgiveness because you've done something wrong. However, if you take the verse to mean, Ya Allah protect me, can you see why it's not about that concept no more?
But then it will go back to, I hear what you're saying, but then it will go back to what he previously said, because he said he felt in himself that he had done something wrong. And then he said, Allah protect me. So that's just basically like, okay, I've struck a man has died. Oh my days, what have I done? Okay, Allah, please protect me, because these people might come and want to do something to me now, because look, I've murdered someone. And then,
so he's trying to say, he's trying to say, Allah protect me from the people.
Yeah. So Allah protect me from the people, because he knows. So because he knows what he's done. He's now saying, "Oh my God, please, God, protect me now, protect me, because look, I've killed this man. What's gonna happen? I don't know what's gonna happen. You remember, you're scared. Let's act like we're in that scenario right now. You just killed a man. Even if you're saying it's gonna be by accident, the first thing that's gonna come in your head is, "Oh my days, what have I done? What have I done? I know I've done something bad. Okay, Allah, please, God, please protect me, because I don't know what's gonna happen now." Do you see what I'm saying?
But it's still add to the point as well, brother. Obviously, at the time, I'm sure he didn't know for certain, because let's be honest, if you get into fighting someone, you get hit, you can go down. It's not necessarily the person dies, right? So the question is, we need to ask ourselves, at that moment in time, did he realize he killed the person? I doubt it very much.
Could be. It could go either way. It could go either way.
I don't know. Maybe I think he possibly could have. If you just struck someone down, if you just punch someone and you see that person's not getting up, and then the people go to him and they say, "Well, listen, this guy's not getting up, man. He looks like he's dead." It could have been straight there on the scene. Do you see what I'm saying? So,
but you know,
I don't know.
One part I want to stress upon, is you see in the verse it says, this is Shaitan's deed, because people use that verse and say, "Oh, look, he's saying this is from Shaitan." What we say is, when he said this is Shaitan's deed, he's not referring to his own act. He's actually referring to that guy starting the trouble. So he's not trying to say this is Shaitan's deed of I've killed this guy, so this is from Shaitan, because there's already the verses of the Quran have clearly said the prophets are protected against Shaitan. So when he says this is Shaitan's deed, he's actually referring to the mischief started by the oppressor himself. So I know that these verses from the apparent sense support what you're saying, Gab. There's no doubt about it. From the apparent sense, Gab, and most Muslims read it from the apparent sense. And from that aspect, I agree with you. However, in Shia theology, the Prophet's family have interpreted these verses very carefully in light of the Prophet's infallibility. So that's why the Shia theology differs. In terms of the apparent sense, there's no doubt about what you're saying.
Do you know what is?
Yeah.
If that's true though, but going by what you're saying, do you know what that does for me? That makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, because that makes me feel like, okay, well, because now these prophets have some cloak of, doing what they can, because they don't have this Satan sin or whatever. They don't have no sin or infallibility, if infallible. Yeah. They can just go around. They can just go around picking fights and just punch someone. Someone die. And listen, hey, God's fine with it. You know what I mean? I can commit no sin, so I can just punch someone die, and just move on. You see what I'm saying? So that's why to me it sounds a bit crazy, because you're saying the two guys were arguing, regardless if the guy caused a mischief or not. I would have thought a messenger would have went over there, or a prophet, you know, who's guided by God, would have went over there and said, listen, guys, stop this, blah, blah, blah. But now he's gone over there, knocked out the guy. The guy's died, and he said, well, forget these guys. You know what I mean? God's not going to punish me for this, because I'm allowed to do this. Like, to me, it just sounds a bit crazy.
I think we missed something. There's one guy who was oppressing the other guy. You understand? So when Musa went over there, he came to protect the Hebrew. That's what our belief is. And like brother said, according to the Sunnis as well, it's, you know, nowadays, this is what I always say, Gabs, you know, a lot of the Quran, the way it's translated into English, and people are just quoting it randomly. When you ask them questions like you're asking them, they get stuck, bro. That's why I say the Quran, you have to learn classical Arabic. That's why we refer to people who know. And the Imams, like, you know, from the Shia point of view, they know because they knew the classical Arabic. Similarly, according to Hanafis, we refer to people who know the classical Arabic. So the way it's translated, absolutely, if you read it like that, Gabs, I fully agree with you. But the way there's another translation that says, my Lord, you know, the first one is, my Lord, I've surely been unjust to myself. But the other translation, my Lord, surely I have put myself into harm. Completely different. My Lord, surely I put myself into harm. Meaning, Pharaoh's now going to come after him, and all of those people are going to come after him. And that's why. And that's exactly what happened. So this is the thing. I just thought I'd just make that point as well, because I think those 2 points are relevant.
Gabs made a good point there about prophets just generally. Sorry, Kalam, you want to jump on? You've been quiet for a little while still.
I wanted to just jump on real quickly and just give an alternative perspective on this, yeah? Because I know how you lot are talking. I know how you lot are talking, but I just want to say, yeah, that there is a different opinion or view on this matter. That Moses, I'm trying to remember the opinion actually, if it's coming from the Jewish school of thought, whether Moses actually killed a person or not, okay? Whether he actually killed a person or not, whether it was an action based upon his tongue, okay? That is another way of actually reading this particular verse. Let me quickly go into this. And he entered the city, and they were fighting each other. Literally, they were having a battle. One from his faction and one from among his enemy. And the one from his faction called for help to him against the one from his enemy. So Moses struck him and unintentionally killed him. Now, unfortunately, you see what it is here? What it is here? I don't believe this is actually within inside of the verse itself, okay? It's not actually inside here.
Are you reading Quran?
Huh?
Are you reading Quran?
Yeah, I'm reading Quran. I'm reading Quran right now, okay? So, you know, a lot of the stuff, sometimes it's not actually in there. So, for example, you got the word here, fakad. Is this fakaz?
Yeah.
Fakaz? Or something like that. Right here, this is this word here, as in kadri or kada, or and it's actually like to pass a judgment, basically. So there is another way of looking at it, that he actually passed the judgment in favor of the Hebrews. Like, allow me, I'm just trying to give you an alternative way of actually looking at it.
Yeah, I get it.
Alternative way of looking at this, yeah. So he actually passed judgment against the Egyptian in favor of the Hebrew. Okay, this is another way of looking at it. And why he's asking, and why he's saying forgive me, okay, is because he's done something here. The word here is zulm. That's the zulm is the one where it says I've wronged myself, basically. And the word zulm is literally from zalim. Well, zulm is literally to put something before oneself. So you've literally put something in the wrong order, basically. So what the state transpired here is he's placed the Hebrew in front of the Egyptian. Okay, he's placed the Hebrew in front of the Egyptian rather than being the proper judge and actually judging the situation fairly. He's actually put the Hebrew before the Egyptian rather than actually just judging it fairly. Whether it could have been the Egyptian right or it could have been the Hebrew was right. He didn't do the right thing in that sense. And that's the reason why he was asking for forgiveness.
I will mention one thing in terms of theology, Kalam, that will probably help the brothers as well. And Gav's made a good point as well at the end, yeah. there is something in our theology called when prophets. I don't want to. There's a whole new debate about Adam and stuff. I don't want to get into that as of now because I do want to focus on the black magic aspect as well. But however, there are certain things called what we call al-tarq al-awla, and what that means in our theology is that when a prophet is given two choices, he chooses the lesser of the two. So I'll give you an example. Adam has a choice: the apple, or whatever it was from the tree, or not to do it, or not to do that. When he done it, someone could say it was a sin. What we argue is we say he had two choices. One was preferable, recommended, one was not advised. But regardless of the one that you choose, none of them were a sin. So there's no doubt about it that we don't like, there's only, we don't disregard their human nature and say it's impossible for them to choose the lesser of two options. However, what we're very keen not to say is sin. So we might say to you, oh, Moses could have done something that was less preferable, if anything, but we don't say it was a sin that he's liable for punishment for. Now, Gabs made a point as well where he mentioned about prophets saying, okay, but then I'm a bit scared now because prophets can then just do whatever they want. It's true, but it's because you're looking at it from the other angle. The angle we're coming from is when a prophet tells his followers to do something, the prophet himself will never do something wrong. So if a prophet sins, if I follow that sin, on the day of judgment, God can't hold me to account for it because God will say, I can say to God, why are you holding me to account for something that you told me to obey your prophet sinned. I then followed your prophet. Why are you holding me to account for it? What angle we're coming from is, if the prophet's done something, it has to be from God because otherwise God cannot hold me to account for it. Are you getting where I'm coming from?
And Raza, I just want to add to a point as well. You know, it's like, for example, Kalam, if you wear a white shirt on tomorrow when you go out, yeah, it could be the most whitest of whitest shirts, yeah. The moment you get a little black spot on there, do you think people are going to say, oh, wow, look at Kalam's shirt, look how white it is? Yeah. They're going to say, listen, you've got that black dot on you. So when you're looking to follow these individuals, they have to be the best role models for you, okay? Because if you're not setting an example, then what's the point of following them? What makes them different from anybody else? You understand? And as I mentioned at the start, the Shia position on Isma is that we don't believe that they cannot sin, rather they choose not to, because they know the repercussions of the act. In the case of Musa alayhi salam, the death was accidental, okay? And an accidental death in Islam is not considered a sin. Yes, there's other laws in place. We have the compensation. We can give blood money for that individual who passes away by accident. You know, if somebody dies by mistake, would we call that suicide? No, because it's an accidental death. So again, if we want to go into technicalities of words and terminologies, you know, it's going to go into a whole separate issue. And I think we still haven't really concluded on the topic of black magic. Because this was a question by Brother Gabs, and we've kind of sidetracked.
Sorry. Just one more point, yeah? One more, and we can move on. Sorry.
Yeah, no, Gabs is good.
You should have left this question towards the end.
Trust me, come on, man. You ain't getting off that medicine too easy. Now, joking. What's it? Going back to that point, yeah, about Adam, yeah? Because I think what it is me personally, I just think, I don't know what it is. Maybe Muslims have a bit of an issue with the word sin. You know, I think sin is an issue. I don't know why, but it is because we know, yeah, Adam definitely did sin because the commandment from God, yeah, or Allah, was obviously not to eat of the fruit or take part in any form of eating. Yeah, he knew this, and obviously you said he had a choice. Now he chose to take part and go against what God said. Now, if you're saying now that you can go against what God said, what God's saying, and it's not a sin and it's you're fine, then by all means. But I thought going against what God said and ordered is a sin, because we know that it was a sin, because what was the consequence of Adam eating the apple? What was the effect? What happened afterwards? What took place afterwards? Was it just he just ate the fruit and then that was it? And because it wasn't a sin.
Rizal, let me respond to the brother.
Well,
nice.
Good question. Rizal, can you hear me properly?
Yeah.
Okay, to be honest, we should have really left these questions right to the end and try to keep a bit more specific in terms of the topic itself. I respect your question regarding the issue of sin, and it's very important. And to be honest with you, some of the links which I shared earlier, and I showed them, you could actually read quite detailed references in terms of these verses we're discussing. But okay, you mentioned Adam, may peace and blessings be upon him. See, the case with Adam, you know, for me to break it down to you in the simplest way is, firstly, number one, Allah had already ordained Adam to place Adam on earth, because Allah says in the Quran that I'm going to place a Khalifa on this earth. So Adam was already destined to come to earth anyway.
Yes.
Okay, that's the first point. The second point is, okay, let's look at it in a different situation. If you have a child, okay, and you have a room that's full with chocolates, and you say to that child, listen, my child, don't touch these chocolates while I go away. These chocolates are for you, okay, right? But I'm going to go away for a minute. I'll be back. The next thing you come back and you discover that your child has decided to help himself and eat the chocolates. Now, the word that's mentioned here in the Arabic is the word zulm. Now, the word zulm, or zulm, it has many meanings, okay? And one of the meanings, it also means hasty, to be hasty, to be quick, okay? What Adam did was zulm in the sense that he was very hasty in terms of not following what Allah commanded him to do, but still, again, it's not a sin, you see? We do not consider it a sin. We consider it a decision he made of lesser of the two options.
You could take it like this, Gab. Just on a brief one, Gabs. Yeah, you know when Allah when there's rulings regarding God saying do something, don't do something. There's something which is called disliked, and there's something which are called haram, even within Islamic terminology. So meaning Allah might say don't do something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's forbidden. It means it's the better, it's disliked. So a lot of our scholars and a lot of the Prophet's family, when they interpreted the verse, they said that it was what you call an advisory nature, an advisory command. It wasn't a forbidden command. If you say to me, why did Adam do tawbah? Why did he, after he done it, why is it that he asked for forgiveness? It's because Adam, by doing that, he got sent to earth, because the punishment was, now I will send you to earth. But hold on, he was already going to go earth anyway. So therefore, Allah hastened his entry onto earth. He was always going to go earth anyway. That's not really a punishment, is it? It's just because you've chosen to go against my advice, I am now going to send you to earth straight away, rather than let you relax in heaven for a little while. So by the apparent sense, Gabs, I know where you're coming from, and you're probably not used to this. But in Shia theology, when it comes to the verses about prophets and sins, they interpret in a complete different way than to the apparent.
Okay.
Also in Islam, bro, there's also debated whether it was Adam that ate the apple. Just to put it out there, there's numerous debates in Islamic theology whether it was, because there's no clear cut. It was Adam.
Yo,
I know.
Saracen, I've got a question for you. So, because I don't want to sidetrack it any further, but you're a Sunni Muslim, right? What school, what madhab are you coming from?
I'm coming from the Hanafi madhab, and we agree fully with the Shia brothers that the Prophet ﷺ was not afflicted by magic. And the reason we say that is because, as the Shia brothers said from the start, Imam Jassas, who was a Hanafi scholar, in fact, he was one of our greatest Hanafi scholars.
Yes, bro. You know what? It's going to be difficult, bro.
Yes, so we also agree with the same principle as the Shia brothers. Sorry, I can hear myself. We agree with the same principle as the Shia brothers, that if a hadith goes against the Quran, we throw the hadith away, we stick to the Quran. That's our first principle. And what we say about the hadith, if you look at that hadith about the black magic, it wasn't around, it's a sole narration, it's not a mutawatir narration, nor is it a mashhur narration. It was not around in the first generation, as far as I know. Second generation, it started coming about in the third generation, the Tabu Tabi'in. And in that time, Islam had spread and there was a lot of politics that went on. Now, if you look at the person who apparently was the magician, no one knows who he really was. Some say that he was a Jewish man who was young. Some people say he was old. Some people, there's all sorts of speculation around him. And the two hadith narrators, one of them is Hisham bin Urwa, who was the same person that narrated the hadith that Aisha was 7 years old when she consummated marriage when she was 9. And his narrations in Iraq are very much doubted. because there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of politics that went on, and there's a lot of stuff that was inserted into, and the hadith have now become within Islam because of Bukhari. And as you know, Kalam, you know, when I first went into the park, I said I'm a Sunni Hanafi Muslim, but I don't believe Sahih Bukhari is the most authentic book. And this is, and people are like, well, how can that happen, bro? How can you call yourself a Sunni? Because according to, there's four main madhabs within the Sunni school. We have the Hanafi, which is the largest majority one. Then we have the Maliki, Shafi, and Hanbali. Now, the Hanafis and the Malikis put a lot of emphasis on using your brain and a lot of emphasis on the Quran being the primary book, and then Hadith come secondary, especially the Hanafis. The Shafis came with a new principle, and their principle basically stated that if you get a Sahih Hadith, even if it goes against the Quran, it's from the same level as the Quran, and that's where Islam seemed to have changed. So this is a few generations after the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, not everyone agreed with these principles. The Hanafis had very strong centers in Samarkand, in Kufa, in the Middle East, and they had their own schools. So we had our own principles. Like Imam Maturidi, the person who I follow as well, he rejected the hadith about black magic. Absolutely. What happened? These Shafi principles came into Sunniism. So it wasn't agreed that Imam Bukhari was the main kind of book for Sunni Muslims initially. But during the Middle Ages, a lot of if you remember the Mongol Empire, they went into the centers of Hanafi fiqh, Samarkand, in Uzbekistan, nowadays in Afghanistan, in Baghdad, they annihilated Hanafi books. Then after the time of Saladin, we see the Nizamiya, which is the Shafi principal schools. So these schools are now teaching suddenly from the time of Ibn Salah and Imam Hajar al-Asqalani, who they said, oh, this is the most authentic book after the Quran. And now the Sunnis started thinking, oh, this is the most authentic book. Whereas the Malikis, which is, I follow the Muwatta of Imam Malik, which I think is a more authentic book, Bukhari. There's all sorts of nonsense in Bukhari, bro. That's the reality. All sorts of nonsense, made up stuff, and their principles are completely different from us. Yeah, that's not to say that there is not authentic narrations. Don't get me wrong. I do think there's not. Don't get me wrong. I do think there's some good stuff in there as well. But Muslims, especially Sunni Muslims, have to use their brain. They can't believe everything and stuff. So, and then recently now, if you think about how Muslims nowadays, especially like, we're talking about Hyde Park Corner, generally around Muslims, most Hanafis now, later day Hanafis, think that Sahih Bukhari is the more authentic book. Why? Because of a few reasons. First, number one, according to, there was a great Turkish Hanafi scholar called, I think Ibn Abidin, and he incorporated the principles of the Hanbali school, especially Ibn Taymiyyah, and he went along and said this is the most authentic book. Then we have Shah Wali Allah, who went into India and said this is the most authentic book. And then from Shah Wali Allah, you have the Deobandi and the Barelvi schools, which are the two main schools around the UK, and they both accepted these principles. So what I advocate for is the principles of the early Hanafi madhab of critical thought, not accepting everything that you believe, thinking critically. If it says in the Quran categorically, not just one place, several places, the Prophet it cannot be affected by magic. How can you, because of your loyalty to Bukhari, because you believe Bukhari is the most authentic book, you disregard the Quran, but you stick to Bukhari and stuff. And for me, that's why, I'm a bit critical of Bukhari. I thank him for all his hard work, but, he was a scholar. And we shouldn't blind follow scholars, because this is what they say, don't they? We criticize Christians and Jews for it, but the reality is.
Exactly what Saracen's saying is we're going to carry on exactly from what he's saying about Bukhari and the narrations about Bukhari, about the bewitching. Let's get to it. Sayyid Ali, you want to carry on those narrations?
Yeah, I want to carry on. I think it was, with respect to Brother Gab's question as well, I think we should have really left the questions towards the end and the discussions, because we've kind of broken away from that flow. So you know, what can we conclude from these traditions? So we know one opinion is that a group of the Sunni jurists outright denied it. They said that this was fabrications made by the infidels and the atheists. Another group genuinely believed this did happen. For example, if I remember rightly, Ibn Hajar Asqalani, who wrote the famous commentary of Sahih Bukhari, who was an Ash'ari scholar, not an Al-Hadith scholar, he believed anybody who denied this incident to be an innovator. Having said that, I think even Ibn Jawzi, the famous Al-Hadith scholar, likewise, he also defended this position, and he said anybody who denies this is also an innovator and he's an outright liar. So we can see this mixed opinion. One group believed it did happen, another group believed it didn't happen. But whatever way we look at it, we still end up in a predicament. And that predicament is, if we have these traditions which are allegedly sahih, meaning that those people who transmitted these reports believed in it, I will come to some questions I would like to ask those people. But having said that, those people who deny these reports and believe them to be lies, what does it say about the whole corpus of hadith science, the science of hadith? Potentially, we've got these so-called authentic traditions that have been narrated. What does it say about these traditions then? Rizal, what do you want to say about that?
In terms of narrations, look, brothers, what we're trying to say here is, yeah, this is not an attack on no one school. No one should get emotional, yeah. Whenever we discuss these kind of subjects, we're discussing the Prophet and we're discussing his sanctity. So we're discussing his sanctity about, you know, the prophets and you know, them being protected and the religion being on their backs. So meaning, if their whole vibe is doubted, if their whole aura is doubted, and we're made to believe that those people can be made into a position where we don't know if they're saying, if they're in control, then your whole foundation gets shaky. And this is why our school's really against this kind of concept. And as all Muslims, we invite all Muslims to this cause. This is not about Shia Sunni right now. We're not interested in it.
Absolutely. Rizal, it goes back to the point. I mean, if the Holy Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him and his family, was so easily affected by this witchcraft or this sorcery, you know, it would ultimately deter him, his mission as being a prophet. You know, as I mentioned, in some accounts, it says that he was affected by this magic for a whole 6 months. For a whole 6 months, he didn't know what he was doing. You know, even to the extent, you know, he didn't know he was sleeping with his wives. You know, if the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, couldn't even identify something like that, you know, it would raise questions on other issues. How do we know that he was identifying Angel Jibreel alayhi salam? You know? Therefore, the position of the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt is very clear, and that is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected him against such witchcraft. And you know, if sorcery was to have an effect on his body, you know, it would raise a whole, you know, it'll open up a whole can of worms.
Yeah. So should we now get inside those verses that mention a couple of those verses and a couple of the tafsir, because we're pretty much there. Just in terms of, after that, inshallah, we can go to the questions. Let's just get into the questions about the verses that mention in the Quran about clearly how this notion is incorrect, about that he can actually not be bewitched. So if you go to Surah 17, whether it's Kalam or Sayyid Ali, whoever wants to just open it up, Surah 17, verse 47, and Sayyid Ali, you might as well bring up the tafsir as well if you want. So we're going to mention a couple of the verses now.
Yeah, so Surah 17, verse 47 to 48. Is that the verse you're going to bring up?
Yes. Look at this verse. We are most knowing of how they listen to it when they listen to you, and of when they are in private conversation. When the wrongdoers say, you follow not but a man affected by magic. Now, in the verse, Allah's saying that the wrongdoers say you follow none but a man affected by magic.
The Zalimun.
The Zalimun, meaning this talk of the Prophet being affected by magic is actually not the talk of the Muslims. it was actually said by the Zalimun. The wrongdoers used to say this about the Prophet. It's just now, we've got these narrations that mention the Prophet was bewitched. This was never a talk from the Muslims. It was from the opposing factions that used to ascribe these lies. And Allah's clearly said this in the Quran here, that they are from the Zalimun who say this.
I want to bring up the commentary, Raza. If you give me a second. I'm gonna share it on my screen once Brother Kalam gets off. And I want to show you the commentary to this particular verse as well. So this is taken from Ibn Kathir's Tafsir al-Quran. This particular verse, see here the website qtafsir.com, and it says, Allah tells his prophet about what the leaders of the Quraysh discussed when they came and listened to him reciting the Quran in secret, without their people knowing about it. They said that he was mashur, which according to the better known view means someone affected by magic. It may also mean a man who has a lung, i.e. a mere human being, as if they were saying that if you follow Muhammad, you will only be following a human being. The second suggestion does not sound correct, because what they meant here was that he was under the influence of magic, which made him see dreams in which he learned these words that he recited. Some of them said he was a poet or a soothsayer or a crazy or a sorcerer. So, from this is very clear that the statement about attributing magic to the Prophet was something that the pagans claimed about the Prophet. And, what more can be said about this? It's very clear. The Quran is very clear that this accusation was made by the Zalimun.
That claim was never from the Muslims. That claim was never from us. It was from opposing factions, and now we've made it sound like it's part of the religion. So it really is it's really problematic like that. The next verse we're going to go to then, just to carry that on, the next verse is, so if you go to Surah 25, verse 7.
Stop for a hot second, because that has a lot of implications. So these narrations, are not even narrations from, let me put it like this. It's not even narrations from the Salaf Saleh, but it's actually narrations coming from what we would class as the polytheists or the pagan Quraysh tribe that was attributing these things to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Exactly. And then all of a sudden it's being narrated as though this is something that was common amongst the Sahabas by supposedly Aisha. Is this what you're saying to me?
Yeah, that's exactly it, Kalam. Exactly.
Somewhere along the chain, there's a problem.
There's a problem somewhere.
There's a problem somewhere. I mean, for example, Kalam, look, in this box now, we can see Bigger, Gabs, Raza, Saracen, you, and then another brother, and then me. So if we're saying that these traditions are allegedly Sahih, somewhere down the line, someone has come up with these things, and we need to ask ourselves, who's come up with it? Raza, read the next verse, please.
Kalam, Surah 25, verse 7.
25, verse 7. Let me get it.
This one's an interesting one. Yep, 25, 7. Yeah, cool. I see that still. Perfect. And they say, what is this messenger that eats food and walks in the markets? Why was there not sent down to him an angel so that he would be with him a warner? And why is it not a treasure presented to him from the heavens? Or does he not have a garden from which he eats? And the wrongdoers say, you follow none but a man affected by magic.
Bewitched.
There it is again. Watch this one, Kalam. These two verses are interesting, yeah? Notice how the people and the mushrikeen of that time, it was them who kept saying to the Prophet, oh, you go to the markets, you eat food. Why are you if you're supposed to be special, you're like a normal man. How can you be a prophet? So the people who call the Prophet a normal man today, and they say they're Muslims, and they say, oh, the Prophet's like us, he's a normal man. This claim was never from the Muslims. This claim was never an Islamic concept. that the Prophet's a normal man, etc., etc. In reality, this was a claim made by the mushrikeen. Now, it's Allah said earlier, someone can just show the tafsir of that verse. You'll see that again in that same verse, it means the wrongdoers claim the Prophet is affected by magic. Again, it's the same thing. The wrongdoers, the mushrikeen. So we're going to go to the tafsir of that verse. So the Quran clearly negates this concept. It's very clear on this.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen to bring the verse up. So that's from this is from Tafsir ibn Kathir, verse 25. What was it? 25:7. Is that correct, Raza?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So it says, and they say, why does the messenger of God eat food and walk about in the markets? Why is it not an angel sent down to him to be a warner with him? Why is he not a treasure being granted to him? Or why is he not a garden thereof he may eat? And the wrongdoers say, you follow none but a man bewitched. And let's we look at the commentary to this. A minute. Here. And the wrongdoers say, you follow none but a man bewitched. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, see how they coin similitudes for you that they've gone astray, meaning they accused you and bellied you when they said that you were a sorcerer or bewitched or crazy or a liar or a poet. For all of these are false ideas. Everyone who has the slightest understanding will recognize that they are lying. So now, what's more left to say about that? These people who accuse the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, of being bewitched.
You know what? I've got a little bit extra to say on that still. But
Go.
To say that. Let me draw for my tafsirs now. Let me draw for my tafsirs. Right? So I'm going for tafsir Jalalain right about now. And it says the wrongdoers, namely the disbelievers, say to the believers. So the wrongdoers are actually stating this or saying these things to the believers. You are just following a man bewitched. One duped, his mind overcome. God exalted be he says. But let me just it's saying that disbelievers are doing these things, but I'm going to get you specifics of who these disbelievers actually are. So I'm drawing right now for Ibn Abbas, okay? I'm going for Ibn Abbas right now, all right? Let's make sure, yeah, it is Ibn Abbas. And it says here, or a treasure thrown unto him, say to this, it says here, okay, and before, the idolaters, namely, Jahal, Al-Nadir, and Umayyah.
There we go.
Umayyah.
And say ye are but following a man, Muhammad, bewitched, who is possessed and mad.
Exactly.
Woo-wee.
No Umayyah to get in there, innit? So you can see this claim is actually from the mushrikeen, and the tafsirs are clear on this issue, and it's Abu Jahl, meaning the main enemy of the Prophet. This was the person who used to claim this. And now we have Muslims saying, oh, the Prophet was bewitched. We have Muslims, and it's actually got in Bukhari. It made its way in Bukhari. Can you imagine that? The irony.
Yeah. Have you got any other verses? Because there is one verse which I'd like Brother Kalam to bring up, if that's okay. It kind of links up to what we were discussing in our previous show as well.
Is it Surah Kalam?
Yeah, Surah Kalam. Kalam.
68.
Surah 68. The verse of the pen. You remember we were talking about the pen and paper?
Yep.
In the last show.
Give me a verse. Give me a verse, King.
Surah 68, verse 1 to 4.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's read. All right. So, known by the pen what they inscribe. You are not, O Muhammad, by the favor of your Lord, a madman. You are not a madman. And indeed, for you is a reward uninterrupted. And indeed, you are of a great moral character. Subhanallah. So you can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala making it clear here that the stuff they say about you, Allah's refuting it. So
Raza, who called the Prophet mad or delirious?
In our last show, when we spoke about this kalam, it was clear that people were accusing the Prophet of being delirious, and it was mentioned that Umar mentioned it to the Prophet. But Allah's clearly saying that these things don't exist for the Prophet. He is not mad. He is not delirious. He is of the greatest moral character.
Isn't it ironic that Allah happened to reveal it in this same chapter, calling it the pen as well?
Jeez.
Can I just say the Hanafis reject that narration about Umar, by the way?
Brother Saracen will probably reject everything.
No, we don't. We reject based on academia, bro. And stuff. We reject, obviously.
I think Gav's ears pricked up when you said Nun.
Okay, so I just want to come back to some important questions, and that is, okay, so, you know, we've got these two opinions. We've got one opinion that believes, obviously, that the Prophet wasn't affected. Brother Saracen, you know, he follows the group of brothers, Sunni brothers, who outright probably reject these traditions. Then we have a group of individuals who believe the Prophet was affected by black magic. And my question is really directed to them, and that is, you know, we need to be asking ourselves that, you know, why wouldn't Allah prevent the Prophet from being controlled by magic if the Quran is correct that shaitan will not affect those individuals who are righteous? That's my first question.
Say that it gets worse. It gets worse. They then go on to the narration in Bukhari about the satanic verses.
Oh,
you know what I mean? This is what happens. It follows that you go into narrations about satanic verses, how these verses came when the Prophet got confused and it was in the Quran, it was taken out, blah, blah, blah. You've got people like Ibn Taymiyyah who's been promoting that the Prophet ﷺ, and then even it shames me, but I love Imam Mahdi al-Asqalani. Remember, he follows Ashri Maturidi, which is different from us, and he said that it was okay. So suddenly, it's very hard for Sunnis to deny that. We, as Hanafis, I want to put out there that we completely... That's nonsense.
Saracen, what they try to argue generally, the Sunni position generally, who I've spoken to, the Sunnis I've spoken to, what they say is, well, okay, as a person, he can become sick, and this is how he was affected by magic. But in terms of revelation, it's protected, right? The revelation is protected. The belief will not have any say or control in it. But as you rightly mentioned, it's true that in terms of revelation, they do actually accuse the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him, of such blasphemy, and they do believe that he was inspired, and there is difference of opinion within Sunni theology about this issue.
But this is what we're calling to today. What we're calling to today is we don't care what opinion or sect you follow, just be just with the Prophet.
That's it.
We don't care what sect you follow. I don't care what sect you follow. You're Sunni, you're Shia, you're etc. Always be just with the Prophet. Our theology is clear on the issue. If your theology is unclear on the issue, make sure you follow a theology that's clear. Saracen's he's following an opinion which is clear on the issue, where he follows the scholars like Abu Bakr al-Jassas, or he follows scholars like Nawawi, which make it clear that the Prophet cannot be affected by black magic. And this is what we're calling to today. So no matter what book it's in, if it's going against obvious verses of the Quran, this is the issue. This is when you brothers quote narrations of the Prophet marrying someone.
It's quite disturbing and disgusting, and it actually really brings tears to the eyes. I mean, why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala humiliate the Messenger of Allah in such a way? Yeah,
because it becomes scholar worship. Because I'll give you an example. When you
brothers have my point. I mean, why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from a logical perspective, right? Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want to humiliate the Prophet in such a way that it was made to look as if he was sleeping with his wives, but he wasn't? Is that not embarrassing for other Muslim people? You know, isn't that embarrassing what other non-Muslim people might say about it? It's absolutely disgusting. I mean, I didn't mention this before, but, you know, there was a particular individual who belonged to a certain church. I don't want to mention a name, but he did try black magic on me. And 3-4 months later, he died. So, you know, this is an individual who, you know, tried to do magic on me. He passed away 3 months down the line. We're talking about the Prophet, may peace and blessings be upon him.
It's something which is definitely it definitely blackens the pages, and this is exactly why we're doing this show, isn't it? Just to show that, look, no matter what book it is in, you've got I think brother Zariyab done an amazing show yesterday as well, where he was mentioning, don't worry about your mentality, worry about if the Quran's clearly refuting a concept, why are you obsessed with it? Just because it's in a certain book, doesn't the Quran come first?
You know, look, I mean, look, let's look at a different point of view as well, yeah? Are we suggesting that in this period when the Prophet was affected by magic, he was receiving revelation?
Whoa.
I mean, how do we know what was revelation and what wasn't revelation? He was under magic, right? We could be like, hold on a second, is this from you or is this from Iblis?
Or are you imagining this?
Sorry?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or is it from you or have you imagined this verse? Yeah, it becomes problematic. It becomes, and that's why, you know, this concept is literally from the clear verses of the Quran that we've showed, the concept doesn't stand any weight. So again, you know, open the floor up to Kalam and see if he wants, if you've got any thoughts.
Just to one more point, Kalam, as well. You know, are we suggesting that Iblis is more powerful than God? Because if God is offering his protection to his righteous servants, but then Iblis comes along and he manages to bewitch the Prophet, which, by the way, was done by his comb, which had his hair on it, which goes into further questions. If this account did happen, which, by the way, in the Shias, if these traditions exist in our books, we outright deny them. We reject them, and our scholars have totally refuted these traditions, right? But, you know, it goes to say, what, is Iblis more powerful than Allah? That he couldn't even protect his, you know, his messenger, peace and blessing be upon him.
Serious. This is mad serious, you know. So I'm trying to invite my brothers to come onto the panel and, you know, have some type of dialogue with my Shia brothers, you know, and also my Hanafi brother. Yeah, Saracen, Hanafi school of thought, right? Just make sure I'm correct in saying that.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, Hanafi as well. So I got my Shia brothers and my Hanafi brother as well, and they're both singing from the same theme, same page. So I want to know, yeah, what my Salafi brothers are saying, what the rest of my Sunni brothers are saying. Are we in agreement that you know, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family cannot be affected by black magic? Or are we stating because it's in Sa'id al-Bukhari, because it's in Mawla al-Bukhari, yeah, that it cannot be fallible? Let me know, family. Let me know. So what you need to do to actually get onto the page right now is, onto the panel right now, should I say, is drop me your email. Okay, if you don't drop me your email and I'm closing down the show, you're going to be upset. So drop me an email if you would like to join us on the panel to have a discussion. Otherwise, forever hold your peace. The other way you can do it, okay, is email me at kalam@live.co.uk, okay? And I've literally just posted up right now, okay? I've literally just posted up right now. Well, I got my brother Bilal. I posted up right now. If you're in the comment section, go there right now. Email me, okay? So I can have your email address and I can invite you in. Otherwise, I apologize. It's your bad. You had an opportunity and you blew it. All right, my brothers. Okay. So let me see if I've got any questions here for you guys, because I think we've gone over the time as well. No, we've gone over 2 hours. So let me just make sure I had some questions lined up for you, brothers. I just want to make sure that they're all being asked. Okay. You know what? Yeah. All right. I apologize. This might just be off the topic, okay? This might just be off the topic, but I need to go there. Okay. So what I need to ask you is, yeah, because you basically say that they are protected. They are basically infallible. In the sense. Okay. Well, you basically asked the question. You basically answered the question already. But I've always seen it, you know, my Sunni brothers are always boasting of, you know, these men don't think that your you know, the walis, what do I call the walis? The successors, Khalifa, were infallible, that they can't make mistakes and so forth. So I just want you to just touch on that again. So touch on, you know, touch on that whole topic, and why and how does it extend to the successors as well?
Yeah. So generally, Kalam, you know, with the same rational proofs that we use to prove the infallibility of the prophets, we generally extend and apply to the prophet's family as well. And I'll tell you what that means. The way the prophets of Allah, from Adam alayhi salam all the way to the last prophet, had to be protected. Allah had to protect them to protect the message. Anything they spoke was inspired from Allah. It was not from themselves. The people would follow them. The people, they were the role models. So therefore, whatever they did, people would have to follow them, and it had to be clear for the people. Now, if they were people that, you know, we have biblical, the biblical version of the prophets, we have their literature within, you know, Sunni literature, which mentions that, you know, the prophets could sin and, you know, they were normal people, etc. These were not people that would be a role model, because certain things that are ascribed to prophets even in the Bible, you would say even a pious man of today wouldn't do it. So when you say that a man like Noah did what he did with his family, with his daughter, even a pious man of today wouldn't do something like that. Would you agree?
Lot did.
Not, was it? Okay, was it not Noah or was it Lot? Okay, that's fine. So would you not say that even a pious man of today wouldn't do something like that? You would. So therefore, we generally have this concept of prophets being infallible because they bring their message and they have to be of the best character. Now, someone says, okay, I understand that, but why do the prophet's family and successors have to be infallible? We say that the message that the Prophet ﷺ brought, as you can see today, you tell me this, if the Prophet's family were not infallible, the way the other Muslims view the Prophet and the theology that they view the Prophet from, who would have protected that message? Because the Prophet's family protected it and said, hold on, these things that are being said about the Prophet are wrong. Every issue that would be brought forward to them, they would clarify and protect the message. So in the same way that previous messages became corrupted, the message of Moses, according to Islamic thought, was corrupted. The message of Jesus was corrupted. Again, the message of the Prophet was corrupted in a sense, because you have got so many different theological views that you've got people today calling the Prophet influenced by black magic. The Prophet's family as successors were inspired and had that protection so that when they would speak, they would make the situation clear and everyone would know what they're saying is the truth. And the reason they had that was to make sure that they could represent the Prophet's message in its totality and its purest form.
And I say that the Hanafis disagree here. This is where we disagree with our Shia brothers. We accept the Imams, but we don't claim that they were divinely inspired. This is where we say, we would, if anything, say that they were Sunni. But we also bear in mind there was no such thing as Sunni per se, like we know as Sunnis as today. What we say is that there were Imams as well. But what we say is that they weren't on the same level as what we the prophets. They weren't divinely protected. And, and the reason why a lot of people ask me why I'm not Shia, the reason I'm not Shia is for the same reason. Just as I'm critical of Bukhari, I'm also critical of a lot of the Shia transmission. So within Shiaism, this is my issue with Shiaism. There was a big break within the tradition. So according to the Jafari school, which is a beautiful school, and I love Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam and stuff, but there was a massive change, like break. So a lot of the Shias were in the school of Allah, they were oppressed. So we don't know if those narrations going back to Imam Jafar, Imam Ali alayhi salam, whether they are authentic or they're not authentic. And there's a lot of stuff and a lot of fantasy that was put in. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys brothers can help me out here. But as far as I've researched, and they didn't there was no real way of authenticating a lot of the Shia hadith until maybe the 13th, 14th century when it was started.
Okay, so Kalam, I know you're a bit busy on the phone. I just want to point out something to you very important. That was just a follow-up to your question regarding infallibility. Kalam, do you drive? Are you pretty familiar to the highway code, right?
Yep.
So if you were to go out now and drive in the left lane, how would things work out? I don't think they'll work out too good, right?
Nope. Well, if I'm coming in the wrong direction, nope.
Exactly, especially if you're going in the wrong direction. So you could say the highway code ultimately is the guidance for you in your safety and regulations in terms of what you should follow on the road. Likewise, when we come to religious scriptures, okay, these divine books that were revealed by God to mankind are considered to be a source of guidance, right? So we Muslims, we believe the Quran to be the last revelation of God as a form of guidance for mankind to follow till the day of judgment. Now, we Shias, when we talk about the Imams alayhi salam, Imam Ali alayhi salam being the first Imam, we believe that he was an inheritor of the Prophet's knowledge. And I'm going to bring up a reference right now on my screen. I'm going to screen share it with you. This is from a Sunni book as well. And the narration is as follows. So it's in Al-Mustadrak al-Sahain, by Al-Hakim, and the tradition is as follows.
Yeah.
Okay. Al-Abbas, how is it that Ali alayhi salam inherited from the Prophet instead of you? So somebody asked, I asked, okay, so it says Abi Ishaq, who said, I asked Quthama ibn al-Abbas, how is it that Ali inherited from the Prophet instead of you? He said, because he was the first one of us who joined him and the most intense one of us in following him, meaning the Prophet, and accompanying him. Further down, we've got another tradition that says here, and it says, that tradition is Sahih, by the way, which I'll show you in a moment. Another tradition, and it says, Qutama has mentioned to him, and he said, the heir inherit her through their lineage or through the guardianship, and there's no dispute among the people of knowledge that the cousin does not inherit when the uncle is alive. So by consensus, it is revealed that Ali alayhi salam inherited the knowledge from the Prophet, and others were excluded. Now that's quite a big testimony, and that's from Al-Mustadrak. There's the book cover. There's the narration there. As you can see, the narration is deemed to be authentic. And at the bottom, the second narration is also deemed to be authentic. It's quite clear we believe that Imam alayhi salam was the inheritor of the Prophet's knowledge, and likewise, this knowledge was, it was passed down from one Imam to the next Imam. Now, Brother Saracen mentioned about Shia Hadith, and he tried to talk about the science of Shia Hadith. The thing is, I'm not trying to be funny here, but okay, when we looked at the Sunni traditions earlier, Sahih Bukhari by consensus is considered to be Sahih. So we've got these traditions which these individuals were considered trustworthy and transmitted these reports. Saracens outright denying these reports, which even though, according to their science of Hadith, they deemed them to be Sahih. Is he really in a position to talk about Shia science of Hadith? If you're going to discuss...
I'm critical both. I'm critical both.
Oh, no, bro, that's fine. But what I'm trying to say to you, in order for you to be critical of both, you'll need to present a Sahih Shia tradition, because remember, we don't consider all our books to be Sahih. We don't call Al-Kafi Sahih. You'd have to demonstrate an example where you'd say, okay, here's a Shia Hadith. This is the chain of narrators. These are the scholars who authenticated it. Let's look at the content of that Hadith and why is it problematic. But I can assure you...
How do you know? How do you know which one's open and which one's on?
Because I'll explain to you why. Just the same way you have scholars of Rijal who wrote on the biographies of, of narrators, we also have the same principle. I can show you many traditions from our books which have been deemed authentic according to the criteria of our scholars. It's not a problem. But as I said to you, if we were going to be critical of Shia Hadith, you'd have to bring a Shia Hadith and say, right, okay, here's a tradition. It's Sahih by this scholar. It's Sahih by this scholar. This is the reason why you reject it. But yeah, again, there's no point making a claim without actually backing up to bring the evidence forward.
I'm making a claim based on... I go to Shia Majlis, bro. I've been to Shia Majlis. I spoke to Sayyid Ahmad Naqshwani here, and he's the one that told me this. He said that there was a massive cut-off from Shia theology. There was a massive cut-off. So, like you said, Al-Kafi, which is one of your most authentic books and stuff. I'm not saying that there isn't absolute hadiths that go back to Imam Ja'far alayhi salam or Imam Ali. Absolutely, there is within Shia theology, But what I'm saying is, because there's a lot of stuff that's added, exaggerated, and then we're relying back on so-called scholars, quote unquote, we're placing a lot of emphasis on that. Now, then, just like in the Sunni tradition, there is a lot of debate on, is the person reliable? Is he not reliable? Do we trust him? It goes back to subjectivity, doesn't it? That's the problem. So what I'm me, I'm quite critical of everything. I don't just take narration, for me, the Quran is the most authentic book. I believe in Hadith, absolutely, but they're all secondary, be it Shia or Sunni.
I get that. Here's something interesting here. Here's a very interesting reference, and I get the whole Hadith aspect, and you two have obviously, in terms of, you've got both different points of view. I get that. Here's something interesting. When you mentioned about Isma, about infallibility, there's actually been a score of Sunni scholars that have actually considered the Prophet's family as infallible. So there's actually been certain Sunni scholars in history that have actually said the same way that we do, that actually the Prophet's family, the 12 Imams, are actually ma'soom. And I'll give you an example, yeah? And this is a good reference as well to know. Shah Abdulaziz, who was actually a famous scholar from the Indian subcontinent, and if I'm not mistaken, I think he was actually Hanafi himself. He's got a book called Fatawa Shah Abdulaziz, so Fatawa Azizia. Saracen, you probably know about this guy. He's quite famous, Shah Abdulaziz. In that book, in that Fatawa, he actually mentions that in his belief, the Prophet's family are infallible. But he uses the term ma'afuz, meaning they are protected against any sin.
Is that Ismail Abdulaziz?
La, the son of Shah Waliullah. Yeah. So Shah Waliullah's son, Shah Abdulaziz, who was Orthodox Sunni, and he was, definitely he was definitely Orthodox Sunni. He actually wrote a book in his Fatawa called Fatawa Azizia. He actually mentions that the Prophet's family are ma'afuz. So he actually has that view, and his father Shah Waliullah actually held the same view as well. So the aspect of believing in the Prophet's family as being masoom is an aspect that, yeah, of course, Shias hold on to it. However, there have been some Sunni scholars in history that have held the same opinion. And Shah Abdulaziz, as you'll know, was a staunch opponent of the Shias in their time. He actually wrote a whole book against them. Yet he still considered the Prophet's family as infallible.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'll look into that. Inshallah.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Yeah, I don't know because we run out of time. We've gone over to the 2-hour mark already. Way past the 2-hour mark. But what I would love to do, yeah, is make sure I get all the questions, yeah, from our family on the comment section, up on here. When are you getting Tommy Robinson and Ali Dow on the panel?
Yeah, bro, I want to say something on that as well, Kalam, towards the end when you I've got a few things to say on that as well, yeah.
I believe that right to the end still. I've been asking questions, but you're protecting your body. It says Kasim Mumin. Imagine that. I'm reading out your comment right now. Yeah. However, how can I put it? Inflammatory that is. But I still read it out. So no, I'm not reading out your comments. I'm only getting a chance now to check the comment section. So if you actually do want to get your comments read out, okay, come on here with a little bit of respect, even, put some respect on my name, okay?
Some respect on that.
Massive respect on that before you start talking. So again, if you got any questions, okay, please okay. So Kasim Mumin said, ask about Hussein Shimran. And that means what exactly? I don't know. Raza, let me just say,
bro, you know what it is.
I'm guessing he wants to know, will you not be debating Hassan Shimrani?
Brothers, you know what it is? At the end of the day, look, we're here doing our talks. The brothers that are quite obsessed about Hassan Shimrani and debating, we're really just not interested in that whole crowd. We're not interested in hate. We're not interested in fighting. We're here talking about our theology. For years, people have spoken about their theology. All we want to do is speak about our theology. Is that such a big of an issue that people have to keep bringing these people involved? These people are constantly making videos, mocking, etc., etc. It's getting boring, and we just don't have time for it. We just want to focus and do our shows where people we're spreading Shiism and spreading what we have to bring. If you want to refute, if your whole life is dedicated to refuting Shias, then that's well done to you. But we literally have bigger and better motives to be dealing with, and we just can't be dealing with that kind of behavior, unfortunately.
Straight. All right. Another question here is Titans TV. This is by Ali. Says, ask your panel about Alayari. I might pronounce it wrong.
Alayari. So,
yeah.
So he's a scholar, isn't he? He's a scholar that comes on. I think he's a scholar that's international. I don't think he's from UK. I think he's from the States and stuff. So he's a scholar that obviously is into the whole polemical Shia Sunni discussions, and he's quite vocal with them lot. So, I think him and Shimrani should debate because I think he's quite into it himself.
All right. And let me get another question out here. Question by Asin Murtaza. Says here, good work, Kalam. Well done. Shia brothers have done well. Oh, man, salute. My question, did Prophet know about him getting poisoned? Okay.
Oh.
Did he know about him getting poisoned? So some people may or may not know about this particular tradition.
That's another topic for another time, actually.
we say Shia fantasy, by the way. We Prophet never got poisoned.
By the way, I know Brother Saracen's going to say that he never got poisoned.
Saracen, they might be talking about the Jewish person. You never know. There's that narration about the a Jewish
Yeah,
person
yeah.
like that.
And that's in Bukhari again, by the way, but we'll discuss that another time.
Oh, you're talking about what the lamb that spoke.
Yeah, it could be talking.
Yeah.
We don't know. Maybe they could be talking about that, innit?
Yeah.
I believe so. See, that there is a massive topic by itself.
That's
literally a show by itself. So,
Brother, Kalam, a request. Next week, inshallah, if we do another show, the questions have to come at the end because it kind of broke up the flow, and then we started going into side issues, and
it did still. It did take us off our path. Apologies, my bad for not moderating correctly. Another question here. It says, if Ali knows the future, does that mean he killed himself when he walked for Fajr? It's gone, and that kuffar killed him with a sword.
Okay, so now, if you were to ask a Sunni jurist, a scholar, if an individual was going to go to battle knowing he's going to die, is that regarded as suicide? I'd request you to go ask your scholar this question, and my question is very specific. If an individual knows that if he's going to go to battle and die, is that regarded as suicide? And if it is regarded as suicide, is that permitted in this school of thought? So I'm not going to answer his question. I want him to go get the answer, and the next week, inshallah, if we do another show, we can continue further with.
Answers it anyway.
Yeah.
Salute for that one. You know, family, again, like, come on. I know we're just shy of 100 likes right now. We're just shy of it. So I know we got over 160 people tuned in. Just hit the like button, family. It's not going to cost you anything, okay? It's not going to cost you anything like, you know, donating to the show and helping us to keep the lights on. Just hit the like button and spread the love. Share the link with your friends and your family afterwards as well, or during the show if possible. This is a very good question here from Derp Squad. He's got a nice little Goku or Gohan icon going on. Oh, man. And it says here, why did Ali name his two sons Umar and Abu Bakr?
Oh.
Is that the answer to
that? Ali, you want to take that?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, look, they need to show us an explicit tradition. An explicit tradition where Imam Ali alayhi salam said, I name my kids after Umar ibn Khattab, or I name my kid after, you know, whoever. These are names that were common at the time. They were used over time. People stopped using them. That's all it is. You know, so these names are not, you know, these names weren't revealed on Umar. That, you know, there was no Umars before Umar, right? These names were not revealed on Uthman. You know, there were other Uthmans as well. So yeah, these are just like, you know, if you're going to base your whole religion on names and stuff, you know, it's just, you have to be a bit crazy, to be honest with you.
All right,
Sadie,
cool.
But Sadie, you pick and choose some of the narrations. This is another thing that I have. You know, this is the thing. Like, I gotta be real, man. When there's narrations against Sayyidina Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala, Sayyidina Uthman, Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala, Sayyidina Aisha, you don't take that. When it goes for us, like, we reject it. You know.
No. You know what? It's a fair question, and I'll give you just a lot of people say that, and I'll just give you a brief answer. Yeah, look. Just remember one thing, brothers, yeah, like, and Saracen as well, yeah, look, you know, whenever we quote from these texts, we're only quoting from Sunni texts to prove our point of view, of course. Meaning, of course, you're going to show me, okay, but in the same Sunni text, it also mentions good things about these individuals. Of course, our whole position is completely different. We only quote those books to kind of prove our point of view. So, of course, naturally, we're only going to quote the things that support us. We're not going to quote the things that go against us in your books, are we? Naturally, in the same thing, when you're going to quote Shia books, you're going to quote the things that support your argument. You're not going to, from a Bible, Saracen, you're only going to quote the stuff that agrees with you. You're not going to quote that Jesus, the Son of God from the Bible, are you?
You know what, family, yeah? Let me get this show closed down. I know you guys want to discuss the Ali and what's my guy's name, and Tommy Robinson affair, okay? But if it's possible, let me actually try to set up a new show where we can just have an open dialogue, yeah, and everybody can just kind of join in with us while we're having this discussion. How does that sound? Let me know, family, if that sounds cool with you guys.
Yeah, that's sweet, bro.
Discussion about the Ali Dawan and the Tommy Robinson affair. Yeah, that would be best, rather than muddling this show up with that nonsense. So brothers, I just need you guys to sign out for us, so we can get this other show started. You got any last minute announcements?
Let's do salawat. Let's do salawat. Let's do Allah.
Before you do that, I want to make sure my brother Saeed, Ali, and my brother Raza, if you've got any last minute announcement that you need to make, please make it. So yeah, please make it.
Yeah, Lily, anything you want to say first?
Yeah, I've got a quick announcement actually. You know, since our last shows, we've had a bit of feedback. And interestingly, we've had some members from the Sunni community who actually become Shia. Who knows? We might even bring them on this channel to explain the experiences and how they found these discussions to be quite beneficial. And yeah, keep subscribing to Beit al-Ghadir. I know there hasn't been any content on the channel as yet such. The brothers have been a bit busy themselves, but I'd say watch this space, and inshallah soon you'll be seeing content, and perhaps maybe we might do some sort of collaboration with Titan TV, do a live show together, and take it from there.
Inshallah. Yeah, I think what I would say is that, look, brothers, just keep one thing in mind. We're not here to cause hate or cause problems. We're here to literally present our point of view. I understand that there's certain personalities that other opposing schools will obviously revere and will have a different opinion with that. As long as we discuss things in an academic way, we should be able to discuss it. We should really get off this whole takfiri vibe, this hate. Even now, when I'm looking at Kalam's live comments and stuff, it's just disgraceful. It's just it needs to be a certain level of respect, and it needs to just carry on like this, because honestly speaking, we literally don't have time for these kind of people, and we literally are just trying to educate people about what we believe. If someone doesn't agree with us, they don't have to. We're just here to preach the message, and that's pretty much it. And it's all love, man. There's nothing else to it.
And we, as a Sunni, bro, I can say that I respect you as a brother. Like, even in terms of humanity, me and you are going to disagree, yeah, right? But people like Raza, I have a lot of time for. We can sit down. I have a good laugh at Raza. He's a really sincere brother, and Zayn as well, man. I don't know Sayyid Ali so well, but let's just put religion aside. Like, if you go out with these brothers, you're gonna chill, man. Sometimes it doesn't need to all about be about religion. That goes for Kemet and Christians and everything, bro. Sometimes we start having hate in our heart, but at the end of the day, we're all brothers and sisters in humanity and stuff. You might disagree with someone, just keep that topic off if you can't handle it. Just keep it. If you don't want to go there, just keep it off. Just leave it, man, and stuff like that. You don't have to hate the individual.
Alhamdulillah. Golden words by Saracen.
Yeah, buddy. So guys, I'm gonna do the other show in a minute. Hold on. You know what? Yeah, I did have something that I did want to share with you guys. I love providing my evidence real quickly. So earlier on, I was mentioning something, and I feel as though that I didn't provide any evidence. So just so I provide my evidence, so my conscience can be clear. We talk about the Moses stuff, and you can find this here. This is like a Jewish website, real quickly. Tor Harok, I believe, right here. And talking about, are you going to say something which kill me? From this phrase, we learn that Moses had killed the Egyptian by cursing him in the name of the ineffable God. This does not contradict what the Torah wrote. He struck the Egyptian. The Bible uses the term to describe, such as in Isaiah 11:4, and he will smite a land with the rod of his mouth. It's like when he comes according to the Sanhedrin, and so forth and so forth. Just to let you know that there is an alternative view on that, and I didn't present it, so I just want to make sure nobody can't come to me, but yo, Carl, you're making stuff up. No. Kalam always provides his evidence.
Kalam, just one last thing. I just noticed now, earlier I quoted a reference of two particular scholars who denied the incident. I believe I may have read them the wrong way around. So just to rectify that, the references were read upside down. So the references and everything are correct in terms of the translation, which you can verify with Arabic. But in terms of the sources, it was the other way around. And if people do watch it, they'll know what I'm talking about. So yeah.
Right, you have to clear the conscience. You have to clear the conscience. When we're delivering these things to the audience, we can't go make sure everything is right and exact. And if we make a mistake, we have to put ourselves on the spot and say, you know, we made a mistake. So yeah, brothers, I'm going to sign out right now. But family, I'm going to try to do a show after show with Ali Dawa and co. All right. But here, real quickly, if you want the link for this after show, it may not work, but just in case that it does work, yeah, here is the after show link. Just literally click onto it and come on. I will leave it in the description box as well. So you can come on via that means as well if you would like to get the other show's hangout link as well. So I'm going to drop it. I don't normally do this because of the hackers, but I'm going to do it right now just in case you lot would actually like to join in. All right, family. So right now we're signing out. Peace and love. I want to sign out. I don't want to do no ad libs right now, just in case hackers try to come in and destroy the show. So peace and love, family. I'll see you guys soon. We're going to be discussing Ali Dawa and Tommy Robinson. Peace, 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 family. Love.